Am I visible and audible? We should begin. Good evening, everybody. I welcome you all to the part one of interactive webinar by our esteemed speaker, Dr. Ruchi Jain from Nagpur. The topic for today is Journey of a Woman from Childhood to Motherhood. I'm really thankful to Dr. Ruchi Jain for being here with us. She's a very busy practitioner and sparing time for a free session is something that I'm really grateful to her. Before we begin, I would like to tell you about her in short. Dr. Ruchi Jain is a practicing predictive homeopath based in Nagpur with over 15 years of clinical experience. She has completed her BHMS from Nagpur College of Homeopathy and earned her MD in medicine from ML Dhawale Memorial Institute in 2010. A dedicated disciple of Dr. Praful Vijayakar, she has been actively associated with predictive homeopathy since 2010, both as a student and as a teacher. She has completed various advanced training programs including SCPH and SCPH Plus and has participated in numerous seminars and Hope for the Hopeless camps focused on congenital and chronic disorders. Apart from her clinical practice, Dr. Jain is a passionate educator, motivational speaker, and mentor who regularly conducts lectures, webinars, and training sessions for students and practitioners. Since 2016, she has been actively organizing Hope for Hopeless camps in Nagpur, promoting the role of homeopathy in challenging clinical conditions. A sincere believer in service, compassion, and lifelong learning, she also leads social initiatives through her Helping Hands group. Her interest in meditation and spirituality has further enriched her understanding of holistic healing, allowing her to integrate scientific principles with a deeper understanding of the human experience. Dr. Jain's mission is to spread authentic homeopathic knowledge and carry forward the vision and teachings of her mentor, Dr. Praful Vijayakar. Before we start, I would also like to give you all an introduction about our group, the Iconic Women Homeopaths of Bharat. This is a visionary initiative by Dr. Vaishali Bhide from Mumbai, who along with Dr. Rachna Srivastava from Lucknow has created a group in a very short span of time, and today it has evolved into a powerful national women's group of over 1,000 strong iconic women homeopaths from across the country. Adding depth and direction to this dynamic group, we have two highly respected and experienced mentors, Dr. Rekha Srinivasan from Chennai and Dr. Padmaja Rao from Hyderabad, whose guidance and wisdom have played a pivotal role in shaping the group's intellectual and professional journey. To ensure proper representation and effective outreach, 20 vice presidents of state have been appointed, along with 2 vice presidents representing 2 major metropolitan cities, that is Mumbai and Hyderabad. We also have an advisory board of experienced and dedicated homeopaths like Dr. Geeta Mongia, Dr. Vaijayanti Nagarkar, and Dr. Neelam Avtar Singh. I'm Dr. Alka Parvate. I'm the moderator for today. Yes, Dr. Ruchi, I hand over the session to you. You can begin. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Alka. I hope the voice is very clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Begin. So I'll start with the session. Okay. You can see my slides. I hope you can.
Yes.
Yeah. It's visible and audible. Okay. So let's begin with today's session. So, as I'm thankful to Dr. Alka for introducing me to this iconic a women's group, and I'm a person believing in women empowerment and definitely a promoter of womanhood and femininity. So I've been working since so many years in homeopathy since 2010, as she has rightly mentioned in the introduction part. And I have been conducting sadhana series sessions since 2000 after Sir passed away, 2025. Okay. After our Sir passed away, so I'm doing it since last 6 years, that is 2020. Demise of my teacher, my guru, Dr. Praful Vijayka sir, and my mission is just to complete his vision and his dreams, which I have to take ahead. And definitely the journey of homeopathy has to be taken ahead of time. So we are here on this platform of the iconic women of homeopaths in Bharat, and I really appreciate because I just got about this group through Facebook, and I've joined, and I appreciate the way you all are developing. And so many doctors have joined, and only female doctors are there. So that tells about the strength of femininity we have in this group. So we are here to celebrate that femininity through the journey of homeopath or through the journey of a woman from child to the motherhood. And as she introduced me to you all, Dr. Alka just approached me that we need to take a seminar, and I am a speaker there. Dr. Alka, don't mind, but my beginning is only so huge that to restrict me for 1 hour was really difficult for me. So she proposed a plan that we can have a series of webinar for it. So we are presenting to you the part 1 of this series, and we will be taking the milestones ahead. So if you all enjoy these sessions, please do give us your feedbacks in the group and also take ahead this mission and join this group so that even you enjoy this femininity and womanhood. So this is the journey of a woman from a child to motherhood. And myself, Dr. Ruchi Jain, I don't want to just waste my time in introducing me because that has been already done. So I am a complete follower of Dr. Praful Vijayka sir. I have the roots and seeds of ICR with me. So that can be seen through my practice and the way I have been dealing. So I conduct online classes and online webinars and even offline sessions at my place at Nagpur with the mission of spreading predictive homeopathy to each and every students of this world. So today's aims and objectives, it's really very difficult to restrict the aims and objectives over here, but the basic aim will be to know the journey of female from early childhood to womanhood, what conflicts a female has to face, what emotional burdens and turmoils affect the hormonal cycle of the female, and how it plays a vital role in changing the internal environment of a femininity. So this is going to be an interesting session because we are going to connect the outer hormonal cycle to the inner world of a female. So as you all know, being a female, it's not so easy to survive in this world. We have to face so many challenges, right from the mother's womb till the day we just pass this world. So being a female is absolutely a blessing, but to feel that blessing and develop yourself as a blessing really needs a lot of effort which is to be taken by the world. So the challenges we face, the approach we have to do through the female disorders, I will be taking few cases through which we can understand how to approach these cases. And as we are beginning to get a journey of a homeopath, we cannot miss the rubric approach or the materia medica to be well accomplished in this whole series. So you will see a lot many rubrics being discussed. I'm not a person who talks only on therapeutic part. So you will see in my sessions is the approach. I try to correlate to the approach and connect it emotionally to the emotional pathology and then give you a plate where, because I am a follower of Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir. He would always say ki if you are a true teacher, don't teach your student to cook the food for one or don't prepare a meal and give it to their platter. Tell them how to cook the whole meal so that they don't starve in the future. Similarly, my aim will be to give you the whole process of developing the journey. So, femininity. This is recently we had the Women's Day celebration in the month of March, and I would say each and every day is of femininity. Without our existence, the world would not exist. So, we are the blessed soul because we only have the capacity, the capability to give birth to a new life. We are the wonderful machines in which this most beautiful magic happens. And our journey starts right from the first zygote, which is there from the mother's womb till the old age we pass away. So we give generations to this world, we give meaning to this world, and as an hierarchy, we give next generation the power, the courage, the love, and whatnot the femininity is about. So we start from the early childhood, and today, because we are starting with the series, and therefore I would not just stop over here by discussing the common topics, but we will start from early childhood. Why a female suffers from right from the womb till now. So if you see lot many diseases there are, I don't know how many of you have seen my lectures, but if you all are connected to predictive homeopathy, somewhere you must have heard identity crisis, femininity crisis, and the rubrics which are coming according to it. So we will take into consideration, and as the second session we will try to consider about the pubertal part. Today is the pubertal part. Next session will be about the menstrual difficulties. You might see different cases, and we will be ending with the most beautiful part of femininity, that is having a motherhood. So this is the whole journey we are going to take in the series. So today we are going to focus till the age of 14 to 16 years and what crisis a female has to pass in this age era. So beautiful journey, and I think you all also feel blessed to be a female. So what is and where we stand different from the other partner we have on this earth? So we have uterus, we have ovaries giving identity of being a female and giving our existence as a femininity. What happens is we all are aware of the normal menstrual cycle we pass through in this whole journey. And as you all know, we might start ovulating at a very later age, but we have this identity of a female, of having the female genital organs, the uterus, the ovum, which is there since we are born, because as soon as the first fertilization takes place, the first identity which develops is that what we are going to develop in the future. It's going to be a male or it's going to be a female. So our journey begins right from the fertilization, and the first sexual multiplication and the sexual identity begins at that time, when even the mother is not aware that she's pregnant. So this all takes place immediately after fertilization. So our journey begins from the struggle the mother faces from that pregnancy part. So if you see females who are struggling with some congenital anomalies, ovaries not developed, hypogonadism. I have cases of hypogonadism where the uterus is not developed, and all the sexual characters of the female are not developed. The Klinefelter syndrome, the Turner syndrome, where being in spite of having the body or physique of the female part, but they don't have the organs which are developed of a female. So they develop the femininity crisis. So the cause of these femininity crisis will be deep down during the fertilization period. So our journey is from that day, okay, from where the mother selects herself to give birth to the new child, to the new baby. Okay, so we as female, we know the importance of this biological cycle of normal menstruation we have. So this all is very, very essential. We know the essential part of ovulating on the right time, right day. If you fail to ovulate, you develop PCOD. If you fail to fertilize, you develop infertility. Your femorium, your fallopian tube must work perfectly. Your uterus should give a perfect endometrial lining so that the zygote implants into it and the new magic has to come to the world, that is the 9 months of pregnancy. So it's a wonderful period. Motherhood is the best emotion of this world, I can say. And those who are blessed to enjoy this whole series normally will understand each and every importance. When a female is missing a cycle, what happens inside? You start feeling heavy, uneasy. You have a physical body of a female, but if you're not menstruating, you are not having that complete sensation, heaviness, hormonal disturbances. You develop hirsutism. You develop so many asexual characters which give you a mannish look. So if you are born to be a female, you should look beautiful like a female. So everything has importance of right time and right event to happen at the right age. So you start menstruating, that is also at a perfect age. So what happens when you're born? Your hormonal cycles are not till the 8 years of age. Your physical body cannot be discriminated so well because the female sexual organs are yet to develop, but they are still there inside the body. They are developing at this age. So you term it as a pubertal age. So you know when you grow, you see a child growing at your home, you see you have also grown to this age. So you start having the development of secondary sexual characters, which becomes so essential part of your identity. Because if a female doesn't attain the menarche, a female doesn't attain this puberty age, so much of anxiety is created in our society. It's so important to get all these proper timings at a proper age. But what is the crisis which is happening today? So we all know till 8 years, everything is right for the male part and for the female part also. But when you start developing your identity at the 8 years of age, identity of a female, all these characters start developing. You start developing breast parts, you start developing pubic hairs, which are very scarce at the 8 and 9 years of age, and then the growth spurts come. And the female at this age group starts growing to become her own identity of femininity. That is a female identity. So how she adapts to this. So there has to be importance of all these sexual characters which give you a discrimination that it's a female body and at a perfect growth age. So people used to get in early ages, the menses used to start at around 13 to 14 years of age. And the menarche used to be at around 13 to 14 years of age. And even in olden days, when I used to talk to my nanima, she used to tell me that we used to have menses even in 14, 15 years of age. Till that time, people were very lucky enough, they would enjoy playing, running here and there. But in today's world, there are so many factors which are contributing, and we are getting so many pubertal issues which are there in today's time. I have a female who is mentally retarded, and at the age of 6 years, her menses started. Can you imagine the pain of this mother? For her, she is a complete dependent vegetative child. And at 6 years, her menarche has hit. She has started getting pubertal cycle, which was far mm, earlier than her age. So that is called as precocious puberty. And it's not normal. There has to be some secondary reasons for having precocious puberty. But today's world, as we know, these kids are exposed to so much of stresses in this world, they are becoming aware beforehand. So what is happening is they are getting puberty, which is at very early age. So you find cases, you find females coming to you, ki, doctor, we are really worried. My daughter is just 8 years and she has started complaining of breast pain, and I can see that there is a slight swelling. So breast buds are also starting to appear earlier to the age. And this early puberty, there is a difference between precocious puberty and early puberty. Okay, but this time period is very, very important. And to hit the puberty at right time, at the right moment is very essential for having the normal physiological cycle. So we all know that we perceive the world, but we perceive ourselves. Every part plays a very important role. Today, why there is a crisis in femininity, why the children are suffering because of these crises. So the perception of this female is changing. The vision of the female is changing with today's time. Past was different. People used to struggle a lot because femininity was a very different at that time. Today, females have got freedom. Females have got that education. Females have got exposure to the outer world. But everything has got its pros and cons. Before, a female was just restricted to her own world, not exposed to the outer world. She had to play a perfect role of mother or a daughter. She was supposed to get married at an early age and get conception at a very early age. Till the time the uterus was ripe enough, very raw and very ripe enough, her marriage was done, and she used to attain her menarche at a perfect age, and there were very rare females going into infertility because femininity was accepted by the females who were born. But today, because there is advancement of the science, we say it's technology being advanced, we are exposed to so much of stresses. Everything is changing the perception of a female. We see ourselves not as Ablanaris. We are working on women empowerment. We are competing with today's world of male. Yesterday, things were different in the past. People would just discriminate between male and the female. So there was crisis of the existence. But today we are giving tough competition. We have become so ambitious. We are trying to balance between our work and our professional life where we are challenging the male part. So everything has to pay off. We are being exposed to the social media where we get knowledge of sexuality, knowledge of so many things very prematurely. We are exposed to so much of stress which is there in the family, financial responsibility, genetically, the mother says ki female had to suffer in the past. So I don't want my daughter to suffer now. So she has to be very competent enough, strong enough to give defeat to the another world which is there. So this challenge is being faced by us. There are the value systems which play a very vital role in the belief systems we have. Few communities still believe in early marriages, but few communities have given so much of freedom to this female. But everything I say that has to pay the value. The more freedom we are being given, we get married at very late ages, and then conception becomes a abnormal thing to us. Before, the environment was such that females were groomed in a very protective environment in the family, being protected by the husband and the father. So everything was under a very protective zone. And now the toxicity, the insecurities, the competitiveness, the fear of getting injured, the fear of getting attacked by the society is affecting that femininity first, because I have to be very strong. Now my daughter has to face this adventitious world which is really toxic. So she has to be competent enough, and the delicacy will not allow her to grow. So she has to really become competent enough and strong enough. So disturbing our estrogen level and where the testosterone are increasing, because there is imbalance between the masculinity and the femininity. Before, the education system was very different. People were well protected and getting married at a proper age. The nutrition we had today, lot of junk food, lot of things which we give to our children, even we get our abdomen filled with it, are really affecting our hormonal cycle. So everything, the perception what we had before, every female before was ready to accept femininity. And today, every womanhood rejects womanhood somewhere in the corner of the heart, disturbing the complete hormonal cycle, because whatever we perceive, we experience inside. If you're very happy and delighted today, you will experience a perfect hormonal balance inside, a good sleep, but a slight anxiety will disturb your physiology. So why not the self-perception? This is the reason changing the whole constitution of this female who is suffering today. So there are so many adverse childhood experiences which this uterus has to face, which this female has to face. There are so many conflicts a daughter passes through at early age. We see in today's world, so many sexual abuses are being happening around. So children get fear, scared, so many mental traumas because of adverse family situation, the conflict between the parents affecting the mental health of the child. The child is being beaten up without any reason. She's being abused physically without knowing what punishment she's getting for. She is under that domestic violence, creating that fear and insecurity into her. In her own home, she feels homeless. She's been departed from her parents. I see so many cases where there are mental disorders, where I see that the child was an unwanted child by the mother. There were already two females in the family, so she didn't wanted to have another female in the family. So this was creating a lot of pressure on her, and that girl who was being rejected and neglected in the family had to go that 4-second feeling, creating insecurity within her and leading to PCOD. We have so many cases where we see that because of poor economical condition, the nutrition is not being sufficiently given. So lot of protein deficiencies and so much of adverse situations that the hormones are hit badly, and she's continuously under the stress mode, under the survival mode. The sympathetic and parasympathetic balance is disturbed, and this violence, this poor economical situation and a poor environment around her creates lot of pressure inside and disturbing the hormones. So there are so many types of childhood traumas. You just have to number and you have to ask, and you will see, yes, this is what we might have faced. Not a single girl is left on this earth who has not suffered a single trauma in her world. Okay, so some must have developed conflicts. This is a root cause. Why I'm putting this slide? Because these are the causes which are needed to be inquired in the cases. You have to understand what disasters a female faces through when in the early child. The female might not be open to share with you in today's world, but when you are unlocking, especially the cases of PCOD, you find doctors coming to me and sharing with me that, ma'am, PCOD is very difficult to crack. Amenorrhea is very difficult to crack. Secondary amenorrhea, secondary infertility has become very difficult to crack. But all those crises which are seen today as disorders have got the roots deep down in this femininity path. So you have to understand what childhood traumas the child had suffered. Is it a physical abuse? It's a domestic violence. It's some medical trauma because of some wrong treatment which has happened, or some major illness which the lady has passed through. A religious trauma where the child's well-being is negatively impacted because of wrong religious belief, where the daughter is taken as the curse in the family. Whereas there are other religions also who enjoy and celebrate the monarchy, who enjoy and celebrate puberty as a blessing of Lord, and they celebrate life just like a religious ritual where they pamper the female, they give everything, they share the gifts, and they make the female also feel happy of having the puberty. Okay, there are wars going around. So don't you feel this terrorism, this refugee trauma, being thrown away from their own country? They are seeing the disasters happening in front of the eyes. They are being separated from their own environment, from their own family environment, where they don't feel being protected, where they feel being traumatized. So post-traumatically, they go into so much of pressure that they develop hormonal imbalances. So as a young child, if the child is being faced to so much of trauma, she is being detached from the caretakers. So she develops animosity. She develops a very poisonous relationship in her future also, because she has experienced so much of stress and anxiety because of being separated from her mother. There are divorces happening so frequently today. So who is the major sufferer when it's a conflict in the family? When the parents are fighting in front of the children are the biggest sufferer. So the cause is that childhood memories, that childhood trauma, which goes deep down into the genetic level, hampering the whole economy of the physiology and developing so many hormonal disturbances in the future. I had a case I shared with you where the mother said, yeah, I was really against having a female child because I already had two children who were female. So I just wanted a male child. I was throughout pregnancy imagining that I have a male baby inside me, and I started talking to the child as like a male. And for your amaze, you will see that this child who was born as a female body would behave like a male. She would reject the mother and say that I am a male, and though she was born as a female, she would not accept femininity. And after, when she came to me, she was 24 years, a complete tomboy who did not conceive even after so much of IVF. She got married at an early age. Mother thought I should get her married at an early age so that she doesn't face all those crises, and she accepts the femininity, but she rejected femininity because it was given from the mother's womb. So whatever the trouble the child is facing is being reflected on her health, on her physical health, on her hormonal health. So she also shows the sign of regression. She doesn't want to grow in this world. I had a case of PCOD where the female says that I don't want to grow because there is so much of animosity outside. So better to be like a child. So she was being given Paraita Cup by me because she doesn't want to grow up in the future with the fear that she might be hit. So better not to grow. So you see so many of cases of Calcaria Cup, Paraita Cup, carbons coming up in PCOD because all those childhood traumas, they directly hit the mental health of the child. So you see that these children, they don't want to grow up. They behave like small children. They go for thumb sucking. Even at elderly age, they want clinging. They go for clinging to mother, clinging to things. They have thumb sucking habits. They have nightmares because of all these traumatic experiences they had. At early school age also, when they are being bullied by the friends, they are being there is body shaming being done by the children. So what happens about because of all this? They become withdrawn from the society. They lack the confidence to interact with the world. So you see those children, they don't have that confidence to have eye contact with you. They hardly interact with the world and they just go into their own shell where they have so much of fancies and fantasies where they start enjoying, they go into autism, they go into hyperactivity and so many psychological problems. So even a child can have all these stress complaints which we see in the developmental era. So they have so much of problem in concentration in the school, and then we barge them with the pressure of being performing and giving marks at the right time. So we see that this adverse childhood consequences, which is right from the mother's womb, directly affect the telomere. That is the chromosome N, which decides the age, decides the health, decides the well-being of an individual. The immune system, the inflammatory mechanism is being hampered and directly hits your hypothalamus pituitary axis, reprogramming the stress and immune response, developing so many problems and complications related not only to the hormone but also the psychosocial cognitive development of this whole individual who was supposed to give miracles to the world is been suffering because of altered functional activity and connection. So all these prenatal, postnatal, and early environment of this child gives so many complications. So because of all this stress, the physical violence, physical abuse, the sexual abuses, early childhood, 6 years old girl being raped, the 10 years old girl who doesn't experience is being separated brutally from the mother. At 10 months, I had a child who was where the mother refused to take care of the child. The mother says, if I take the child in my hand, I will cut the child into pieces. The fear of handling the child. Can you imagine that while breastfeeding, the mother says, I really hate this child. I don't want the child. The mother comes to you saying that I don't want lactation because I hate this child because of this child I have been separated from my husband. If this child would have not been there, my husband would have come close to me. So because of all this, the child develops weak immunity, recurrent infections. So if a child is coming to you with recurrent infection, understand what environment the child is being born, right from the mother's womb till today's age. So many autoimmune diseases also develop. The child unnecessary cry. So this crying is not only obstinacy. The child can even cry because of fear and fright which she has developed. I had a case where she was being exposed. She had extreme fear of dark, and mother would just punish her by putting her into a dark room. So till such a long age, she would just have that fear of dark and she would go into panic attack. A single dose of stramonium helped her to overcome this panic episode. So they develop so many aggressive behavior and stubbornness. We are able to see only the picture which is shown by the child. But why the child has become so stubborn and obstinate? Because the child was unheard. The child was not being taken care. If the parents are neglecting the child, they are busy in their own world. Who takes the care of today's children? Ayabai or some maid who is feeding these poor children? So, what emotions the mother can pass to the child, the love and care the mother can pass to the child, these maids cannot. So, what is the suffering this child goes through? The maid is forcefully, we see so many videos where the nannies are not taking proper care. The maids are brutally handling our children, and we are just relaxing that there is a caretaker at home. But Dadi Nani were really protective for the children, but these caretakers, they are only bothered about the money. So they also create an animosity for the children. So much of insecurity which develops. So this impacts the complete development of the child. So there are so many cognitive problems. You see, they have developmental problem, behavioral problem. I had a case where the mother was so much brutal with the child that the child would exactly replicate what the mother did to her. She would cut her doll into pieces and shatter the eyes. Mother said, whatever expensive gift we had for this child has got a habit of removing the eyeballs of this doll. And whatever doll you give, she would just remove it out. So I asked him, what you do? How you do this? So she would never say, but then tracking back the trauma of the child, we came to know that the mother would always scare the child that if you see a mobile too much or TV too much, I will just remove your eyes. So she was replicating what was being done to her by the mother. I had a child, because we are from a Jain community, I had a child who was being beaten up by a slipper because father was too aggressive and there was so much parental conflict. So this child would, what she did was, when mother was not there in the family, by her own slipper she used to kill ants. And when mother came one fine day, she saw that the whole floor was filled with ants being killed by this daughter, and that was a great shock. So everything affects the behavior. So you see brutality, cruelty coming up as a rubric. But what is behind is that suppressed anger and aggression. So remedies would come who don't have that courage to share the anger in front to the parents because of that fear, but they displace their anger on some non-living thing or something which is weaker to them. So remedies work wonderfully in such cases. I saw a case where at very early childhood she was being exposed. The parents did not bother of having a relationship in front of her. They would not take care. So she started getting more inquisitive about all these things, and she got premature knowledge, and she would just go and she became shameless because for her things were very common. Okay, I have cases where at 5 years, girls are going into masturbation. 2 years, female enjoying orgasm. You can see where the parents say she rubs her genitals. She just goes into her own fantasy world where she enjoys, and at that time, she's just rubbing her parts, and it is very difficult to take her out from that emotion. So, these early childhood trauma and experiences have got an impact on the hormonal cycle. Okay, and different remedies have got these conflicts which we can see. So, masturbation in early childhood, you have so many remedies which are there. So, hyoscyamus helped a lot. Moscus helped the child a lot. Okay, so whatever belief system we transfer to these children creates a reality. If the mother transforms a belief system that you're a strong girl, You are being loved and cared, and you're a precious baby of ours. That baby will definitely become a confident lady because she knows that she's being wanted. She knows that she's being cared and loved, and no insecurity will develop. But all these traumatic incidences, if get transformed to the baby, and the baby feels that I am unwanted, I am being rejected, she will either throw back or just absorb all the trauma. So there will be constitutions which will develop. So here today, I am sharing with you a case of early puberty. This is just a 10-year female. Can you imagine a 10-year-old female coming to you that she has been menstruating since last 1.5 years? Her menarche hit when she was just 9 years. Okay, at 9 years, what is the tender age of a female? What does a female understand at the 9 years of age? You are just playing around. You don't even understand the sexual discrimination. What is the difference between a male and a female? When you're just understanding the outer world, at that time, there is a turmoil which has happened inside the world. So you see so many cases in today's world where they are going into early puberty. So what is early puberty? When you see cases who have gone into 9 years, 10 years, even 10.5 years of age, they have started menstruating. So they start developing their secondary sexual characters. Can you imagine this 10-year-old female is looking mature to her age? Her size was 53 kg. Her height was too robust. She belonged to a Mona Punjabi family, but still, what was her suffering? She suffered from DNS, she suffered from bronchitis, she could hardly breathe when she was brought to me. So mother said ki she just eats, sits, and she has become very lethargic since her menarche. And even if I ask her to do something at home, she would just rebel. As a child, when I inquired what was the family environment, so it was a very difficult environment. There was so many adverse family situation. There was mother-in-law, that is grandmother in the family, and that grandmother would use so much of abusive language, and she would always could give a pressure because there were three females. She was the eldest daughter. There were two more females in the family being born. So she would just abuse this girl, saying that, why are you born in this family? So there was conflicts between the parents because there was constant pressure. So what she did is she started hating her own sisters. She would be jealous. Why everyone loves her and not me? Being 10 years also, she said I had that craving of mother, but because of these children and because of my siblings, I cannot enjoy my family. So there were family conflicts at last because she was being the eldest daughter. She was being beaten up badly by the parents. And there was always a comparison between elder daughter and the younger one. And the youngest one was just 1.5 years. When she came to me, she would always carry that daughter as if she is the mother of that child. So there was so many expectations being a burden upon her. She was a child who desired attention, and she had to give that love and care to the siblings, which she hated a lot. She was not doing it with her own desire. So she said, now I want to earn and grow and get out of this family. Can you imagine a 10-year female telling you, कि Mama, आप तो सिर्फ you just stay at home, do nothing. See, Masi, she's working hard. I just want to get out of this circus because you all fight so much and you beat me that I just want to earn a lot of money. And I know that only money can get me out of this way. So I want to work and earn money. 10-year-old female, what talk are supposed to be there from a female who is just 10 years? So she's not like a child. She don't like to be a child. She wants that I should grow very fast. And in pregnancy also, the same thing the mother has transformed because there were conflict between the mother-in-law and the mother. So she was under pressure of giving birth to a male child. But since this was the first pregnancy, she said ki at last, whatever it is still expected, tha ki it will be accepted in the family. But still that pressure of getting a male child was too tremendously upon me, and husband was alcoholic. And it was an accidentally unplanned pregnancy because there was so much conflicts in the family. My mother-in-law was not giving me proper meals. So I always had to fight for that attention. So my husband was always busy earning bread and butter. And whenever he came home, he would just fight with me rather than giving love to me. So there was so much of restriction. Even my mother-in-law did not care of me and nor did allow me to step out. And the whole situation created a lot of anger and frustration inside me. And I just wanted to finish this out as early as possible. I used to get violent over small things. So this pregnancy, can you imagine how was painful and what child is born? The child was definitely not a child who was very timid. The child was very rebellious child, aggressive child. She would compare her mother and Dadi. She would say, Ki, you don't know, you come and see my family. It's a big circus. My mother, if she prepares food, her chapati is shape of Pakistan. And if my Dadi prepares food, her chapati is somewhat shape of India. She would describe everything. Just shamelessly, she would talk about the relationship her father had with the mother. She said ki in my family it is very common to use all bad languages, and even in front of me she was using abusive language. When I said ki at least you are being educated in a school, so what she said, you don't know what you know about my family, how they treat me, so they are supposed to be treated the same way they are treating me. So she has become very dominating upon her siblings. She had a lot of anger because of being neglected. There was so much of stress and no independence in the family, giving a lot of frustration. She would compare herself with other friends and the other family members who would enjoy that freedom. She said, Ki, I don't have that freedom of even playing outside. If I go and play, at 8 years of age, she was sharing her experience. My father would beat me badly because when I was 7, when I was 3, I had a younger sibling. And when I was 7, the third sibling came in the family and I was being supposed to take care. So she started crying over here and she said, Ki, ma'am, when I needed love, I was being asked to give love. So I just want to grow very fast. And I think you are the first person who is talking to me so politely. So she said, Ruchi Bua, I really would love to talk to you because you are the first person who's talking and asking me what I want in my life. So this much maturity this child had. And she was really very insolent to talk to her daddy because the way the conversation was going in front of me, the mother was truly haphazard, not well dressed, as if she has not bathed since so many days. So she said, Ki, you look at my mother, she is hardly taking care of herself. She should look, see, at this age, she should understand to take bath properly, eat things properly. So she was a person who would understand what is exactly going around her. And she was very intelligent. So she could write stories also. But she did not enjoy education and she hated going to school because she would not love education. She was extrovert, too talkative and poking her nose in the conversation. She was too much rude and really a person who had that dare. At 10 years of age, she came alone to my clinic to give the whole history. And I said, Ki, where is your mother being accompanied with you? And she said, Ki, she doesn't have time. I can give my whole history. If you want, you ask me everything. I know everything. I'll call my daddy if you want. So she had that audacity, that daring to face the world. She was really very defiant. And that because the environment was not so good, she was not being taught, she knew how to give back, she was really fighting and quarreling and whatnot. As of now, she was in a good school, so she could have absorbed why this become PQRS. Because even if in this animosity, in this adverse environment, which was very toxic, kids do develop good qualities. But this girl has absorbed the bad qualities as a constitution, as a disposition of the child, which was to contradict. Okay. So she did not suffer because of her timidity, but she was a person who rebelled to the whole environment. She was really revengeful. I saw her dealing with her small children, the way she was dealing. So, whatever being transformed from the mother through the womb was being seen in the child. So, the first reason was, why did this child have so early puberty? At 8.5 to 9 years, what understanding the child should have, but why this child is developing so precautiously. Okay, so this is called as precocity, where they are behaving too mature to their age. What age she has to calculate money? She would calculate money, ki how much expenditure I have and what I should earn from tomorrow's world, because I want to just grow fast and leave this home and go and get out of to the outer world so that I can have my own freedom. So this is what 10 years old female, she's just fighting her whole cycle and she just want to revolve it as fast as she can. So what feeling state and what rubrics we can think about when we are solving this case? Can anyone give me an analysis of this whole case where you can think about what rubrics we can take? So yes, if you can put it in the chat box, I would love to interact, because this is the whole case I have presented and what remedies we can think of. She's a girl who wants to just go ahead in life and complete her whole cycle. And she said, I will never have so many babies if I cannot give good condition to them. A 10-year-old girl talking like this, is it so common? Is it PQRS, or it is very common to have such talks? Absolutely not. This was not common to have children talking like this, because you don't expect a 9 years and 10 years old female to talk like this, talk about economy, talk about frustration, talk about all these things of running out of the home. So, yeah, she is a precocious female. So, whatever remedies here, you have to see the rubric first, which I selected for this case, because that cannot be missed. But that was the PQRS. That is precocity, means when at a very tender age, we expect someone to overgrow mentally and physically to her age. That is precocity. So precocity was the first rubric. Then whatever we have seen is the disposition we have to select. Okay. So the first this was being identified is somewhere because her ovaries started behaving very early. Okay. So therefore they got mature too early to the age. So therefore precocity is the rubric, pathological rubric at the mental level for the female having early menses. So you can directly take this rubric also into the pocket and then match with the disposition of the child. The disposition is that this child had a disposition to contradict. She would just contradict at every point. She has become meddlesome. She has become quarrelsome, audacious. So many things were there in the path of disposition. And the first thing was, whatever you say, I have to contradict. I will not take up whatever I am. So there is a confusion to her identity. She is just not accepting her role play of a child, and she wants to behave like a very mature and an elderly female. Yes, so this has to be taken into consideration. So she is definitely non-diligent. She has a forsaken feeling and that lack of love which is there at an early age. yes, I would love that you all interact with it and give me whatever your thought process is. So yes, there is definitely a forsaken feeling which is there, but she's not longing for that love right now. She has gone over that love and now she has become very revengeful and very quarrelsome. And she says, "Ki, if you don't love me, I don't bother." And she's become so much aggressive at this time period. And she has become so much jealous from children that she's just fidgeting with them. So this is the rubrics which we have taken up. Precocity with confusion of identity and a contradictory disposition. You can add to it a forsaken feeling also. Okay. And then give me a remedy which is having this audacity, this revengeful attitude, and this character of growing over to her age, having premature precocity at every level of mind and body. So you can see how we have matched the mind and the body. This is what we have been doing in predictive homeopathy. In predictive homeopathy, we try to understand what the body is saying because body never lies. The mind can deceive, the emotions can deceive, but the body will never deceive. The body is saying precocity at the physical level. We have taken precocity at the emotional level. We have matched it from the history and taken up as a rubric in the trapezoidal challenge. So, can you give me a prescription for this girl? And we can move ahead because we are already short of time. And yes, so she had a lot of issues with her nasal also. See, what we can help is at this age, we cannot stop her menarche because that has already hit her. Okay. So, how we can help in such cases is that we can give a remedy so that her menstrual cycles are normal, so that she doesn't go into obesity and other complications, her breathing, her immunity, which has gone down because of all the stress factors. So, our constitutional simulation will definitely help her to gain a balanced life and a balanced perception. I've seen change in perception also, change in the way the patient reacts to the situation and handle the stress if the remedy is right. So the right remedy which I selected at that time, looking to the repertory vitality, was lachesis. I gave her lachesis, and after lachesis, there was a wonderful change in her constitution. I could see even Dadi said now she has started taking up responsibility of the family, and after few months, I could find that she has started taking interest in studies also. Okay. And when I inquired and I started talking to her, she said, "Ki now I know ki my world is also being created with my friends. So before I used to be always absorbed into my family crisis, but now I know how to handle my things, and now I am focusing on my career also." Though she did not score well in her education or in her class, but still she was started taking efforts out of it. So this is where still the family situation was same. Mother could hardly understand what pain this child is going through. Okay. And if you understand the see, I have a habit of giving few rubrics which are related to the mind and body connection. So if you see pubertal crisis, if you see precocious puberty, you see early childhood conflicts, what rubrics should come up? So delusion time passes slowly, delusion I'm enlarged. You will see when children are too obese. Okay, so confusion of identity, they want to grow fast. Menses appear before the age proper. You will see laches is also here. Delusion of confusion. Head belong to other. When you see baraitas and cannabis coming over here, they just don't apply their own head. Delusion of being poisoned. So much of animosity which was there. Delusion injury will receive. So this will give insecurity. Hatred for self and anger for himself. Love sick. They are actually dying for the love. So you have so many mistakes makes in future with the past. So they don't know what is happening. So they are in their own fanciful world. They go into absorption. They are antagonism with self, confusion of identity, sexual. So you have managed behavior. If you see managed behavior, you can take this rubric of confusion of identity. Okay, so hormonal disturbances, they just want to complete their cycle and leave this world because they start hating themselves. So they hate the world also. So hatred for themselves, hatred for their life, hatred for their opposite sex, and they just don't want to get married. They have aversion to marriage, aversion to responsibilities. They become very much persons who don't want to have the social boundaries, and you find them having moral feelings. They are ruthless, brutal. They become insensitive. So they are just opposite to the qualities of what a female is born with. So you're born to love, you're born to enjoy this femininity and not to break this God's gift of handling everything with love and care. This is very beautiful life, and every daughter who is born in a family has got that right to survive this world with all love and care. So give your daughters, all the females around you, how much love you can give them, and just make them feel blessed to be females. So this is Dr. Ruchi Jain from the desk of Iconic Women's Homeopathy, and this is our session today. If you have any doubts, I hope we have 5 minutes for the discussion. Please give us your valuable feedbacks, and if you have not understood anything, definitely we'll take into consideration. The second and the third lecture will cover maximum parts ahead. Thank you. Dr. Alka, take over to you.
Yes, a wonderful session, really insightful. Lots of things we have learned today. And certainly, I too have got insight into one of my cases which I took yesterday. I would just share it in short. There was one lady who was pregnant, and she had this. She has gone through this phase wherein one of her relatives tried to hug her and sort of molest her. So from the time this happened, she has developed an insecurity feeling that she would never be able to speak up, because that person was a relative. She could never speak up and tell anybody about what had happened. And up till now, this is there that she is never able to speak up and tell others as to what is wrong, whatever wrong has happened with her, and that feeling still stays. So her physical symptoms and even the symptoms later, even during pregnancy, are all correlated. And I certainly got a deeper insight into how to go about solving such cases with the method that you have taught us today. Thank you so much. Yes, I would also like the audience to participate. If you have any questions, please put them in the message box, or you can raise your hand and you can ask.
There is a question, I think. What can be given for aversion of marriage? See, you have to go into details of what is the cause for aversion to marriage. There can be different things for not getting married. Few things which we see right now is that when the children, the girls say कि we are not very responsible, we're not ready to take up the responsibility. So it can be responsibility aversion to it. And few people say that we don't want to get married because we don't want to get binded up. So they are the people who love libertinism, that is freedom of life. They don't want to get enslaved with the relationship crisis. And few might not want to get married in future because they had some disappointment of love in the deeper heart. And they say ki it will be injustice to the person whom I'm getting married, because I will never be able to love the same way which I loved before. So they are still in that deep love of the past, like Natramure comes up in this group where they cannot forget their first love. So they don't want to get married to a second person. There can be trust issues also. So you have to just go into one step deeper and know the reason for not getting married. Some another question. Any other question?
You can put your question in the chat box. Ma'am, I have one question here before
Yeah.
I ask you the other questions. Is it that when you take a case and you see the age of the female, yeah, there are particular rubrics which you need to think of only related to that age group, or is it that it is in general related to all?
Mhm. See, like precocity. Precocity is something related to age, definitely. You should know the age of the person because a child at 6 years, if see, you see so many videos right now, 13-year-old male handling the business and has become a millionaire. He's handling so much industrious. So this is not expected because there, as to Eric Erikson theory, or you see the developmental age factors. So definitely what rubric you are. See, a girl at very early age will not have that conflict with the male part, right? So you need to understand the age also of the person with relevant to the conflicts. Okay. So early childhood age, she might not understand what is happening with the parental discords, but definitely those are getting deepened. And I saw a case today where at the age when she was in the school, she came to me at 45 years of age today. Okay. But when she was in the school, she didn't realize what partiality was happening with her. But today at this age, she is suffering because she's not able to come out of those thoughts of partiality. She's trying to explain to her, to being a doctor, I need to just erase those memories. I don't want to go and hurt my parents of those partiality, but I cannot get out of that. So I really quarrel to my mother. So at this age, you should understand how to discriminate between these present and the past. But she's still dwelling upon her past bad experiences, what she had. So definitely age, and because not only the age in numbers, but age with maturity. If a female of 45 years is just giggling and not ready to grow up to her age, yes, then you can definitely take that she is immature. So age factor really matters a lot.
Okay, so we have another question here. How to approach in cases of primary infertility where all reports are normal?
See, primary infertility, if I say, there are so many factors, and when we are taking infertility in the later lectures, you can even go through my YouTube channel and you will see infertility I've explained in complete totality. So it is always not that just the reports are not saying. A premature ovarian failure is sometimes missed in the reports. And you will just see that AMH is just borderline, or sometimes it is falsely coming up, where it plays a very important role because ovaries, they fail to mature in a right time and they go into premature ovarian failure, which is one of the major reason of primary infertility, where you see that all the reports are coming up.
Dr. Bhavna Taide has asked, I have a query. I am still attracting case of Parkinson's. So I want to understand what pathological rubric should I consider today? My mind was stuck when the case visited.
See, Parkinsonism is, see, I've taken a session on this also. You can go through them, but Parkinsonism and neurodegenerative disorder. So you need to understand that when you are dealing with neurodegenerative diseases, you will have certain restrictions in treating them because degeneration is something where it has come through the as a part of aging and which cannot be stopped, but we can delay the part. I have cases of Parkinsonism, but I'm not able to completely retrospectively see if I see those cases, I'm not able to completely get them back to normal because Parkinsonism is a gradually progressing disease. So when you're approaching them, pathological rubric, you have atrophy of brain in the mind section, you have like rigidity which is there. So you have rigidity at the physical level. So you have stiffness and spasms which are there. You have tremors which are the pathological rubrics of Parkinsonism, and they are present if they are very prominent, even the memory part. See, I have a case where in Parkinsonism, she has only forgetfulness to certain names. So you can take those rubrics also. So you have to find out what has gone first or what is more PQRS in this case, though it is very common. Everyone will not have gait issues in Parkinsonism, or everyone will not have memory issues at the same level. I have a case where she understands everything, but she just misses her whole home. So there is a rubric, well-known street, she forgets. Okay. So that is also a rubric for Parkinson's.
Dr. Sunita Agarwal has asked which delusion should be taken in rheumatoid arthritis.
The big discussion topic, Dr. Sunita ma'am. I have already
taken up sometime later because today's topic is different, and I would request
I have already presented
relevant to the topic.
And I have already presented rheumatoid arthritis lately, where I have presented all the rubrics related to inflexibility and related to rheumatoid arthritis. That is available into my channel also. You can go there and see.
Is anybody else? Somebody PCOD?
What about PCOD? What do you want to ask?
PCOD.
What PCOD? It's a huge topic. What do you want to ask? Again, vertigo.
Please ask your question in detail. Dr. Aishwarya, are you there? Ma'am, I suppose she would like to know as to how you go about treating PCOD. She has written what are the underlying reasons and possible solutions for PCOD.
So I think the next upcoming topic is on PCOD. We'll be briefing all this. So Aishwarya, you stay back with us, and next lecture will be the topic. You will get all the answers to it.
Dr. Parul has asked about vertigo. Dr. Parul, I suppose we'll take up this topic later on because this is out of context today. Anybody else who would like to ask any questions related to the topic? I think that is it. Yes, and it was a wonderful session indeed. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruchi, for sparing so much time for us. We have really enjoyed the session. I'm sure we have learned a lot. Yes, looking forward to many more sessions from you and keep learning. And certainly
always there for homeopathy. Always there for homeopathy.
Certainly. We all are for homeopathy. That is why we are all together. Dr. Fatima has asked which date is the next session. So we will be putting that in the group and we'll be updating everyone. Yes. So thank you, audience, for being there with us. Thank you, Dr. Ruchi. Good night, everybody. Meet you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night to everyone.